18 WJTS News, I'm Charlotte Olson. South Central Indiana Economic Development Group Radius Indiana says it is in support of the Midstate Corridor. Of course, the Midstate Corridor is a proposed interstate-level route connecting U.S. Highway 231 in southern DuBois County to some point along Interstate 69 in the north. The proposed highway, known as I-67 Corridor, would increase connectivity in the 8-county radius region and create opportunities for economic development and also add valuable new infrastructures to the region's list of economic assets. Board chairperson for Radius Indiana, Becky Skillman, says that a new Midstate Corridor would provide a powerful economic engine for rural southwest central Indiana. She says that the corridor would result in the region attracting more businesses and allow existing companies to also expand. She says it could expand the workforce due to easier commutes and also bring some tourists to our world-class attractions. The regional initiative, led by OFS Brands President and CEO Hank Minke, has been working to set up the groundwork for the connection since 2012. The group is now shepherding growth of regional development authorities in order to move the project up on the priority list with the Indiana Department of Transportation. The state legislature passed a bill this year that does allow municipalities participating in regional development authority to create a fund specifically for regional infrastructure projects such as a Midstate Corridor. The legislation also permits RDAs to apply for federal fast lane grants from the U.S. Department of Transportation, which helps to fund roads and bridge projects. Menke says that they have taken another important step in the recent formation of the Midstate Corridor Regional Development Authority, which will allow local investments to partner with INDOT to help drive the necessary planning and construction of this important 4-lane limited access highway through DuBois and other counties to eventually connect to I-69. While no final route has been established, the corridor was named a Tier 2 project by the state's Blue Ribbon Commission in 2014, and a committee that determined which transportation projects needed to be done and when they should be completed. Tier 2 projects are targeted for completion in the 6 to 8 year range, and once INDOT greenlights this project, they will determine the route's final path through DuBois County. Several routes have been proposed for the new connector through DuBois, but the selection will not occur until INDOT adds the corridor to its projects list and completes environmental studies for the route. The route could connect I-69, US 231 north of Jasper, or State Road 37 near Bloomington. And Radius Indiana is a regional economic development partnership representing 8 counties in southern Indiana. Those 8 are Crawford, Davies, DuBois, Greene, Lawrence, Martin, Orange, and Washington. The Indiana Republican Party has officially called for the caucuses to fill the vacancies of 2 local state representatives. State Chairman Kyle Huffner says that the caucuses will consist of eligible precinct committee members. A caucus for House District 63, currently held by State Representative Mike Braun of Jasper, is scheduled for next Monday, October the 30th at 6 p.m. Eastern Time in the Pfaffenweiler Room of Jasper City Hall. Braun announced his plans to resign from his seat last Friday, effective November the 1st, in order to focus on his campaign for the Republican nomination for the U.S. Senate. District 63 includes parts of DuBois, Pike, Davies, and Martin counties. The House District 74 caucus, for a seat most recently held by former State Representative Lloyd Arnold, is set for Monday, November the 6th. That caucus will be held at Perry Central High School in Leopold at 6 p.m. Central Time. Arnold was recently appointed to the position of Director of Law Enforcement with the Indiana Department of Natural Resources. He resigned on October the 22nd. District 74 includes parts of DuBois, Spencer, and Orange counties, and all of Perry and Crawford. Those picked at the caucuses will fulfill the remainder of the terms, and individuals interested in running in either caucus should contact the state party secretary at secretary@indiana.gov to help ensure that they file the proper forms to file before the deadline. Yesterday, the Tell City Police Department held a press conference in light of a recent community threat over social media. The threat was sent to a Tell City school, Troy Corporation student Sunday, prompting the corporation to be closed and to close its doors yesterday to ensure the safety of students. In a release, it was said that the comments did not specifically target an individual in the school building or the corporation itself. But Tell City Police were contacted immediately to help investigate and determine the validity of this threat. Over the course of the investigation, authorities determined that the school media post originated outside of the U.S. and was not believed to be credible. Homeland Security has been involved in the investigation and will continue to look into it until the situation is officially resolved. School officials have and continue to search the building for anything out of the ordinary, and the Tell City Police Department did conduct a final walkthrough last night. School resumed today for the corporation with extra security protocols in place. Officers were stationed at both buildings to help ensure the safety of both students and staff. A Spencer County man has received sentencing after a plea deal was accepted in a child molestation case. Last Friday, 20-year-old Gage Nelson of Santa Claus was sentenced to the Spencer Circuit Court for 2 Level 3 felony counts of child molestation and 1 Level 5 felony count of child solicitation. The sentencing was handed down by Spencer Circuit Court Judge John Dart after the judge accepted the terms of a plea agreement between Nelson and the Spencer County Prosecutor's Office. A release says that back in December of 2015, the Santa Claus Police Department and also the Spencer County Department of Child Services launched an investigation after information was received that Nelson, who was 18 years old at the time, had inappropriate sexual conduct with an 11-year-old girl. During the course of the investigation, Santa Claus marshals discovered that Nelson had also had an inappropriate relationship with a 13-year-old female and had solicited over 13-year-old females for sex. An arrest warrant for Nelson was filed by the Spencer County Prosecutor's Office in May of 2016. Nelson was taken into custody and booked into the Spencer County Law Enforcement Center the same day, where he's been held on a $20,000 bond ever since. Nelson entered into a plea agreement regarding the charges on September the 1st and entered guilty pleas to 2 counts of child molesting as Level 3 felonies and 1 count of child solicitation as a Level 5 felony. Nelson was sentenced to 16 years in the Indiana Department of Correction, with 10 years of sentencing to be executed and 6 years to be suspended. Upon his release from the Department of Corrections, Nelson will be required to register as a sex offender for life and will be subject to very strict special probation conditions for adult sex offenders. Spencer County Prosecuting Attorney Dan Wilkinson, in a release, called the case an example of their local protocol and multidisciplinary team for child abuse investigations working as designed. The public is encouraged to report suspected child abuse or neglect by calling the Indiana Department of Child Services. That number is 800-800-5556, or you can call local law enforcement. Anyone with information regarding criminal activity of any kind may lead to a tip anonymously through the Spencer County tip line. The anonymous tip line is 800-615-6088, or you can go online at spencerprosecutor.org/crime tipline. The local Emergency Planning Committee of DuBois County will have their next meeting at 1 p.m. on Wednesday, November the 8th in the Pfaffenweiler Room located at Jasper City Hall. In 1986, Congress enacted the Emergency Planning and Community Right to Know Act, and the law provides for emergency response planning to cope with the accidental release of toxic chemicals into the air, land, or water. To carry out these provisions of law, the DuBois County Emergency Planning Committee was organized. An important goal of the committee is to increase public knowledge of and provide better access to information about the presence of hazardous materials within the community. This community is comprised of members from local and also from state government, environmental health, media, fire, police, EMS, industry, hospital, community, and transportation. Once again, the local Emergency Planning Committee of DuBois County will have their next meeting on November the 8th at 1 p.m. in the Pfaffenweiler Room in the Jasper City Hall. For more information, contact Chairperson Tammy Humpert at 812-482-2202. And keep it right here, except next we're going to take a look at your weather summary.